See, Turek, your mind, it is like a gun. And you want to load it up with little itty bitty bullets of knowledge.
What's going on? It's your guy Boro, the Lucky Libra, and thank you for tuning in to another episode, alright? As you can see by the title, we're picking up the Debilitation series with the Cancer Archetype. Before we get into it, y'all make sure to tap into my website to connect with the Lucky Libra. Make sure to tap into my Patreon where I'm getting into celebrity synastry breakdowns, deeper analysis, monthly classes, and more. Without further ado, let's get right into it. Shout out to my beloved Cancers. Where you at? Where you at? Alright, y'all in the building? Throw a 5, throw a 10, throw a 20 in there. Alright? But when we talk about the Cancer Archetype, this is cardinal water ruled by the moon. Cardinal water ruled by the moon, and the debilitation is Saturn, and the fall state is Mars. Okay? So cardinal water, cardinal signs are the leaders, the pioneers. They will in, they usher in. Alright? They initiate, they start. And when we talk about water, water is dealing with the feelings, the emotions, vibrations, all right, memory, the past, connection, okay, the internal. It could sink in, it could hold in. And so Cancers are the leader of the emotions. They the leader of the vibes. And they're ruled by the moon. The moon governs how we deal with emotional stability. The moon rules how we respond to things and the world that we live in. Okay? So the moon is truly who you are. So that, based off the modality element, ruling planet right there, you got the natural nurturers. You got the leaders of the emotion of the zodiac. Alright? Wear their emotions on their sleeve. The way they feel about things have a lot to do with their decisions. Rolling with gut instincts and intuition. Okay? Dealing with understanding others and life. Water signs are very understanding. Very understanding. Okay? You got some water signs out there. You tell them something and you think they'll look at you. They about to look at you a certain way. They be like, nah, it's all good. It's all straight. It's all gravy, man. Got some Scorpios take your secrets to the grave. But when we're looking at that archetype of Cancer, alright, they the leaders of how the vibe about to be established in the relationship, in their environment, and within their family issues, within the career area of life. Okay? That's how Cancers roll. And when we get into the debilitation, we dealing with Saturn. So Saturn is debilitated in Cancer. Saturn, whenever we're dealing with the debilitated planets, we could just look at the ruling planet of the opposite sign. And the opposite sign is Capricorn. So Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is dealing with how we see reality, how we deal with reality. Okay? Structure, time, limits, restrictions, alright, confinement. Okay? And when we break down how this affects the Cancer's archetype, dealing with authority can be overwhelming for Cancers. Dealing with authority can be something to make a Cancer very uncomfortable, and these are key words. Those are key words right there when you talk about the Cancer energy. Comfortable, uncomfortable, because overall that's what our moon signs are trying to do, trying to be comfortable. Okay, and it's trying to do that by the way it reacts and responds to things. Whatever house whatever house you got your moon in, that's gonna be a house that makes your moon the most comfortable. Alright? Things outside that house start making your moon a little uncomfortable. Especially if it's opposite, if it's a square. Alright? AKA if you push into environments where you have to react and respond to energy that's square or opposite to your moon. Okay? So when we look at authority has a lot to do with Saturn energy. Any way you could think of Saturn energy, any business, association, organization, form of structure, something being built. It's gonna have some form of authority, a leader there, you know, somebody calling shots, a boss. And that's the energy that can make Cancers, it could be overwhelming dealing with authority, especially asshole managers, dickhead bosses and shit. Cancers fuck around, lose their job flipping on one of these dudes, because whenever you put Cancers in a space where you're trying to confine the Saturn being, because whatever planet is debilitated, when we deal with that energy, is like our Achilles heel, is a bit of a weakness, could make us feel uncomfortable, vulnerable. We could develop insecurities with this energy. So that form of authority, dealing with heavy Saturn energy, the way the emotions of a Cancer is set up, like that could just be highly uncomfortable, and the way they react and respond, you know, to the situation could really alter the reality of it based off how they feel. Okay, now any form of limitation and restriction towards forms of expression make a Cancer uncomfortable, dealing with that limitation, restriction energy. Once again, the moon is dealing with what makes us comfortable, our emotional stability, how we react and respond to things, all right? How we nurture our goddamn selves, all of our private energies, inner thoughts and feelings. So that's the energy Cancers want to feel comfortable no matter what they're doing. Career, work, relationships, in the home environment. There's certain signs that could probably, I'm a Capricorn moon. I'm a Capricorn moon, Capricorn rising. You feel me? Libra sun. Saturn influences my whole big threes. Saturn exalted in Libra. So I could put my emotions to the side for a lot of things to handle business, to make a decision. It came off cutthroat and detached a lot of times, but that's just the energy that is more comfortable to me as a Capricorn moon. When we talk about Cancers, let alone Cancer moons, when we talk about the Cancer, but we talk about the Cancer archetype in general, that moon energy has to feel like it's in a relationship, form a career, business, where it's being nurtured and it's being able to nurture the situation, is able to have that reciprocation. So that's very key for Cancers, to make sure that y'all know y'all placing yourselves in uncomfortable environments. And this is why a lot of Cancers, a lot of time, is going to manifest into being very reserved loners, or you know, very introverted or whatnot. Now, emotions can cloud their judgment and how they see reality, with Saturn being debilitated here at times. So depending on certain situations dealing with reality, you know, based off of how a Cancer feels about a situation, that could start to steer how a Cancer is supposed to be making a realistic decision at times. Alright, the emotions can be they're very strong here, can be very overwhelming for a Cancer. Cancer archetype is, y'all done heard that Cancer is the most powerful sign and whatnot, and there's a lot of things to attest to why that's that. But it's a very powerful energy. So, you know, when we're in this realm that's dealing with all this, Saturn energy so heavy in this world and realm. Everything's about laws and restrictions and organization and putting time into things. And so with a Cancer being in situations where it's natural for them to roll with how they feel about things, or make decisions how they feel about things, or initiate and start things in their life based on how they feel about things. When it comes to having to deal with realistic situations or whatnot, maybe in a career space, or maybe a realistic decision that need to be made in a relationship at times or whatnot, because it don't need to be just career or work. We need to make realistic decisions in our life all the time, and all different in every house. In every house. So it's like these things can just have the archetype of Cancer dealing with that heavy water and moon energy. These energies can just cloud Cancer's judgment at times. So this is real important for Cancers, you know, to even take y'all time when y'all feel like y'all making big decisions that's relating to your reality, relating to real situations or circumstances in your environment with your surroundings or whatnot, instead of just based off how you feel about something. If somebody did you wrong, you've been taking advantage of a certain situation, because those type of energies can really make a Cancer feel fucked up, feel real down and bad when people take advantage of their support or their forms of trying to connect to somebody. So yeah, that's that. Can also play out extreme cold and detached energy, mostly when their care or love has been taken advantage of. So when we talk about debilitations and falls, sometimes we play out these energies in extremes because it's already an energy that's debilitated. So when anything that's debilitated, when we look at the word debilitated, that's something that's not working properly. All right. So when we deal with our debilitation, we don't deal with them properly, efficiently. We can overdo it at times. Okay, so it's not just about not doing it or being vulnerable or scared to deal with it. It's also overdoing it, not knowing how to handle the energy. So we got to keep that in mind when we talk about debilitations here and false states, even though they're different. But here, Cancers can play out extremes with Saturn being cold and detached, because Saturn don't deal with emotion. All right, don't reflect light. It's about reality, trying to build. Okay, so when it comes to a Cancer being in a situation where their natural nurturing ways, they was probably in a situation that turned out to be an illusion, or you know, a connection that they really valued or whatnot. You know, they really wanted to, they continue placing effort in, they really believed in or whatnot, a connection they would have with somebody, and somebody really just played them, super lied to them, super used them or something. Not only can that make a Cancer flip, but the coldness you'll see from a Cancer will be a coldness that they won't even be able to reverse it. They won't even be able to reverse that. They're going to be that cold, that detached. All right? Because overall, their natural energy is to connect. But when it's got to a place where they can't do that at all, they can't connect at all, okay? Then now that extreme Saturn energy could be played out at times. All right? Okay. Now, being abruptly cut off from something they're connected to, that can really make a Cancer type rugged and uncomfortable, or feel overwhelming to a Cancer. A person they was really connected to just ups and leave or cuts them off. A certain they was going to a basketball event, a camp every weekend. They just got cut off from having to do that. Parents said they can't go there no more. Like, just being cut off from something the Cancer was already connecting to. Because if a Cancer's connecting to it already, that to them, that's already something that could provide some form of emotional stability. Something that they want around in their personal space, in their private space, if they connecting to it. So just being cut off for some shit without somebody giving them understanding is why authority, even Cancer's dealing with authority that could make decisions like that, is uncomfortable. So this is why that whole Saturn energy, from authority down to just dealing with restrictions from things that they connected to, all of them energies play out very uncomfortable for a Cancer. All right, very overwhelming, and could be things that Cancers had to learn to deal with, had to learn to see the reality of what they're dealing with, had to learn not to let their emotions, overrule what has to happen in that in these situations. So that's what I had written down for the debilitations of the Saturn energy. Okay, once again, this series is about us understanding our Achilles heels and weaknesses, so we could spiritually prep and keep these things in mind when we're dealing with these energies or stepping into environment situations relating to these energies. Now, when we get into the fall state for a Cancer, the fall state is Mars. Mars falls in Cancer. So when we look opposite at Cancer, we got Capricorn, where Mars is exalted. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. So Capricorn is the highest peak for Mars. It's one of the strongest positions Mars can be in, besides its home placements in Scorpio in the 8th house and in Aries in the 1st house. Okay, when it's in Capricorn or is in that 10th house area, you know, Mars on top of his game. He's in a place he loves to be, because he gets to place all his passion, all his willpower, and set all his goals towards gaining stability, recognition, social status, being known. Gets to be known for his passions. Mars in Capricorn, Mars in the 10th house. So, and has a very very passionate work ethic. So when we look at the fall state of Mars, what is Mars? Mars is your willpower, overall your intentions. All right, so how you approach your goals, how you take your actions, how you deal with anger and frustration when you can't meet your goals or meet your passions. Mars is your passions and your desires. Alright, we know Mars. We know a thing about Mars. Mars don't deal with time well. Mars is very impatient. We know when Mars wants it, it goes and gets it. It goes right to it. It doesn't compromise. Doesn't feel the need to take people along the journey and have people roll with it. So when we look at fall states, this is a planet in its subconscious state. We could say this planet is in a resting state. And when we're resting, when we're asleep, we're in our subconscious energies. So when we deal with our fall state energies, we play them out in a subconscious way. So could be some lack of belief in that energy, some insecurities dealing with that energy, very uncomfortable dealing with the energy. And a lot of the times when we deal with that energy, it's hard for us to gauge what we're capable of and incapable of dealing with the energy. So when we talk about Mars, Cancers can deal with a bit of self-doubt and mood swings pertaining to what they're passionate about. Okay? So overall, Cancer could have a passion to be a rapper, be super talented or whatnot. Now, depending on certain, obviously, every single placement video we do, alignments could affect all of these things. But when we're looking at a Cancer dealing with something they're passionate, let's say they want to rap, that's their passion. A Cancer will go through a lot of internal ups and downs and insecurities dealing with that art, or dealing with what is it they're passionate about. Because once again, Mars is in a subconscious state, so dealing with a passion at times is vulnerable, and Cancers have to have their emotions into it. Mars is dealing with your feelings. Mars is dealing with your feelings now, but we're dealing with a different temperament of your feelings. Even though the moon rules emotional stability, the moon governs any emotion and any form of emotion that we dealing with, any feeling we catch and sink into or express. The moon dealing with all of that. But we could say feelings of things that we hate or passionate about or angry, all of them things, desires that get trickled down, filtered through Mars. So it's like Cancers could definitely have their mini mood swings from time to time, dealing with their passions, overwhelming themselves, probably placing too much of a potential expectation on themselves, have to learn to drop that. Once again, Cancers can care a lot. So when it comes to their passions, managing their care of how they dealing with their passion. So for example, it's like a Cancer could be like I said, a rapper. And depending on how, be real passionate to be a rapper, talented in everything, and depending on their reaction after dropping that first song, if it doesn't meet a certain expectation, depending on how they Cancer feel about that, when it comes to their passion, that could start creating a bunch of insecurities about that. So y'all need to learn to be like, yo, it's very important to keep in mind, Cancer, when you embark on certain journeys or whatnot, know that your emotions are prone to go through ups and downs through everything in life, and you can't dictate how you continue to walk your path based off of how certain things make you feel, especially when it comes to things that you're passionate about, Cancer. All right, you got to deal with that passion. You got to deal with your desire on embarking things, and that's where you start to really learn how to cultivate your power, because that moon energy is strong when you start resonating on certain things. That's why you guys reel things in and attract things like the way you do. That moon energy is strong, so where your emotions is at are things that you guys are receiving quicker than anybody else. Due to the lack of Mars in Cancer, you guys can be overly aggressive. Once again, that debilitation fall state energy can play out as an energy we overdo due to the lack of it. So Cancers, and then on top of that, Cancers, you guys is cardinal. So cardinal signs is already aggressive. Alright, because it's the pressure, it's the willing in, it's the starting, it's the bringing in. To initiate and start something, you gotta do that shit you gotta say it with your chest. You gotta establish it. So overall, the way Cancers can go about dealing with something, not even just dealing with their passions, but whether it's in a relationship, a certain business endeavor, working with others, how they definitely how they connect with certain people that they they're emotionally connected to or whatnot, can be aggressive overall, dealing with these people, places, and things that's in their personal private space. If you're a close friend of a Cancer definitely checked you with a certain energy that made you feel it. Like if you friends with a Cancer, if you watching this, you're not a Cancer, and you got a close Cancer relative, friend, or whatever, in some type of shape or form, there was something that you probably did before that rubbed the Cancer the wrong way. But let's say you didn't realize it. The way they expressed something to you, you felt it so much that it let you know, like, damn, this Cancer really, I mean that much to this Cancer. Cancers they know how to make you feel that. So the way they're even connected, or how they approach or communicate to certain loved ones or whatever, or go about expressing certain things in the environment to make them comfortable, can be very aggressive. So Mars can play out in extremes of Cancer. This is why Cancers can flip on people. That Mars is asleep there. So when you is in a subconscious state. So when you wake it up at times, it could bug out. It's like it don't know how to tame Mars for real here. So this is what we're dealing with when we're talking about being overly aggressive in that type of energy at times, especially when it's connected to things that Cancers really care about at times. Now, dealing with anger or frustration can be held into a grudge energy. Cancers, y'all gotta be very careful of that. Y'all gotta be very careful about what y'all choose to hold and sink onto. I just mentioned where you guys' emotions are at. You guys reel it in quicker than anybody. Being the leader of the water signs, ruled by the moon. Okay, so the key word here is Cancers care. You guys care. So dealing with heavy care energy, this is where Saturn kicks in too. This is where Saturn be debilitated here too. Because Saturn deal with restrictions, limitations, cutting things off, doing construction work, putting boundaries on things. Karate chopping motherfuckers. So when it comes to certain things Cancers care about, y'all gotta learn to cut some shit off at times. Sometimes one of my favorite astrologers, y'all already know, shout outs to Dolo the Pilot Man Soul Group, y'all already know what it is, you feel me? That's my teacher. And when he talked about Cancer, he said, Cancers could they could overly care about what they don't care about, or prove to you how much they don't care about you. They could care that much about that. So with my personal observation, here I see Cancers need to learn to place restrictions on sometime doing that. Because sometimes that could just be more energy exerted. That could be a subconscious grudge that you're really dealing with, Cancer, instead of just releasing and detaching from a certain situation. So certain situations with you guys being super duper having your back super duper pushed against the wall and feeling like all forms of connection is being cut off. You can't even find ways to agree to disagree, and then so when we get to that state, then that's when y'all jump into some heavy Saturn energy. But sometimes y'all have early stages to initiate cutting something off, cutting a person off, and that could turn into really a grudge now that you're dealing with a certain energy, and you don't even realize how that's trickling into other areas of your life that you don't want it to. That's because your emotions are that strong. And the emotions is that strong for everybody, but this is y'all archetype though. Y'all ruled by the moon. So how y'all deal with y'all emotions is different from Mars. Okay? And cardinal water can be a detriment to yourself because of your power when you are angry. So when you are dealing with that Mars energy, which is uncomfortable for you to deal with, don't really know how to deal with it at times, because you cardinal water and dealing with that heavy emotion, when you are angry, mixing the emotion with the anger, that shit could be too overwhelming. that shit could be too powerful. So this is not only why y'all flip. Sometimes y'all could do things beyond what you probably intended to do. This is why a lot of Cancers deal with anger management when they're at young ages or whatnot, or really had to learn to control their emotions, dealing with authority figures at young ages or whatnot. So I have multiple Cancer friends that have told me these related certain circumstances and situations in their life dealing with that type of energy, with their anger and frustration about things, and learning how to release, deal with it, express it, how to think about it differently or whatnot, look at situations differently, and all that. You know, a lot of emotional intelligence is naturally a lot of lessons in life you Cancers attract to develop more emotional intelligence in this lifetime. So even diving deeper into the archetype of Cancer, Jupiter's exalted here, so I didn't even mention that. So there's a lot of knowledge and wisdom that's gained as a Cancer, dealing with what you learn from how you inflict your emotion into the world, how you're able to grasp your manifestation powers and what you could reel in and receive based on how you place your emotional intent. A lot of wisdom and expansion is made here with Jupiter. So yeah, Cancer, you guys can be very wise too, but at young ages and whatnot, dealing with that Mars energy and how that shit get mixed and tied with the emotions, sometimes that shit be too overwhelming. Y'all end up flipping on people, and some of y'all see red. Some of y'all be seeing red. So we got that over there. We just want to be mindful of that. Okay. And lastly, can attract situations where your passion or anger is pulled out of you. So the thing with Cancers, you guys are the walking moons, the walking emotions. So this is why y'all can wear emotions on your sleeve. When Cancers do things, they do things with their emotion. When Cancers play basketball, they play basketball with their emotion. When they rap with their motherfucking feeling. You're gonna feel that shit. You feel me? They cook with a real sense of trying to nurture whoever the fuck gonna eat this meal. This gonna hit home. Like, this gonna hit your soul. So everything that Cancer do, they do with their emotions. So by default, when your Cancer is not playing with a competing or creating with a certain form of emotion and conviction, now you in situations, relationships, careers, where people try to pull passion out of you, all right? Or people try to get you angry, pick at you Cancers, pick at the crab, see if it could flip, see if it's just gonna be chill and reserved, all right? And then you do gotta clamp at a motherfucker, but for the most part, this is just a natural energy that could arise in certain situations, relationships, career, just cause. Alright, so it's just for Cancer to be to itself and be in his own energies. Like, sometimes I can't even do that shit. People want to see me express myself. People want to see what intentions I have. Alright? Just by default with Mars being debilitated in a subconscious state here, in its false state. So that's something you want to keep in mind, and you want to be able to pick that shit up when somebody's trying to pick at you. Okay? For the most part, you guys are intuitive, but now that you understand that you attract that at times when you deal with that energy, it helps you understand how to gauge these situations, alright? Oh yeah, one more thing. When we talk about Mars, one more thing. You know, when Cancers have a passion, sometimes you guys could be too much in your own shell, in your own vibe, in your own private comfort zone to even push out energy to deal with your passions at times. It's almost like Cancers could be passionate about things, but then it's like y'all could feel stuck in your own rut at times because you're used to being in a space that deal with your comfort zone. And a lot of our passions take us to go out and embark on things, do things that are uncomfortable, put ourselves in first time experiences. So at times, just to get out of a rut and start experiencing, doing certain things with that energy, with your passions, you guys can be real reserved and sink into your emotions and see how you feel about it today or tomorrow to deal with your passion. So that's something that was really important. I just wanted to come on and add. So family, y'all already know what it is. This your guy Bora, the Lucky Libra, tuning in, tuning out. Y'all make sure to tap into my website to connect with the Lucky Libra. Y'all make sure to check out my Patreon, alright, where I'm getting the monthly classic celebrity synastry breakdowns and more. Okay, until next time, we're picking up with the debilitation of the Leo archetype. Alright family, peace.